Hi, this is Carolyn. Let's talk about transfers. Transfers can be super difficult to do and quite frustrating. But like a lot of other things, once you learn it, it's super powerful and you can have a lot of creative fun with it. What I'd like to do is, instead of doing a demo, I'd like to teach you how to teach yourself. There are so many variables, and I would encourage you to teach yourself to do it systematically using exactly the same paints at first and exactly the same magazine source and exactly the same paper, and to go from there. Let's start at the very beginning and see what we can learn. As I understand it, it has a lot to do with the chemistry of the toners, the paint, and the material that glosses magazine papers. To be successful at transfers, it's essential to understand how it works, and you really can only do that with some hands-on experience. Look how little paint I put on that jelly plate. Just about as much paint as you can fit on top of your finger or on the top of a dime. And because what we're really going to be doing is asking the white empty paper, or the paper that has the least amount of toner on it, to pick up the paint, we shouldn't use too much paint. If you use too much paint, then the paint will just gob onto the bottom of the copy and will not leave a track or a ghost or a transfer. I am rolling that paint down to a whisper thin layer of paint. This is actually consistent with all of jelly printing. The first mistake that we make when we start to jelly print is that we use too much paint. In most contexts, this much paint will do for jelly printing. But especially when creating transfers, you want very little paint. The toner is going to reject the acrylic paint, thereby leaving it on the plate. The white paper around it has the job of picking up that layer of whisper thin acrylic paint. If you have too much paint there, then that slippery, non-absorbent magazine paper cannot pick it up, and it too will stay on the plate, in which case you won't be able to see the acrylic paint that the toner rejects. So in essence, this is not a transfer, it's a resist. Once I started thinking of it as a resist, I started to understand the relationship between the toner, the paint, and the paper. So let's take it from the top again. So the toner has oils in it, and because it's oil-based, it rejects or doesn't pick up the water-based plasticky acrylic paint, and it leaves it on the plate. The white paper around the toner picks up the acrylic paint. If there's too much acrylic paint, then the thin and glossed magazine paper can't pick up the acrylic paint, and it too stays on the plate so that you don't see the remainder or the ghost left by the toner. Once you've got the transfer down, the hard work is done. Picking it up is just like picking anything else up off a jelly plate. It doesn't really matter how thick that paint is. I mean, you don't want it to be goopy and slippery, but the whole idea is that it's going to set onto the paper and pick up everything on the plate. The hard part of this whole process is only getting that transfer onto the plate. And we'll look at that in a little more detail as we proceed. In terms of this particular stage, picking the print up, there are also a lot of questions about how long do you need to leave the paper on and so on. Well, this is like any other jelly plate. You roll the paint onto the plate, put the paper on top, let it dry, and it all comes off together. You could leave it there for 6 weeks. It's still going to come up. Let's try it again. This time we'll use some pages out of a National Geographic magazine. National Geographic raises the question of what is on paper, what is on the prints. A gloss, is it a matte finish, and how do those behave in terms of allowing the toner to contact the acrylic paint? It also affects how the white space behaves in terms of picking up the acrylic paint. Okay, so here we have our first print from those Economist pages in just black and white fonts and drawing. You can see that there are some blobs that have been left on the plate. When I touch them, they're wet. I'm not absolutely certain, but I think that those blobs are a result of the gloss medium that's on these magazine pages. I suggest that you also use this method. Use the same paint. I'm consistently using the Artist Loft here for the transfer. The pickup paint doesn't matter as much. Use the same magazine for your tries, or know exactly which magazine you're using. And use the same brayer so you know whether it's clean or dirty. Use the same method of cleaning your plate so you're sure you aren't leaving any oily streaks. I'm making sure that the paint, again, is whisper thin for the transfer. Now you can put the print material onto the plate carefully, making sure that you don't create any bubbles. If you have too much paint on the plate, then this thin paper will wet very quickly and start to wrinkle. And where it wrinkles and bubbles up, the white space won't pick up the acrylic paint. So that's one way we'll get bubbles or blobs. In terms of how long you should leave the copy on the plate to get a transfer, I leave it on until when I pick it up, I see that the white space has picked up all the acrylic paint underneath it. You can check this by just lifting a corner. If you do leave everything on too long, then the paint will come up even with the toner because it's dried. So once again, this next step, picking up the transfer, isn't too complicated. It's the same as if you wanted to pick up the ghost from a stencil. It doesn't really matter that your paint is whisper thin, though you never really need too much paint because it takes longer to dry. Plus, too much paint wets your paper and then softens the fibers. And then when you try to pick it up, you often tear the fibers, or you have to wait really long for it to dry. So keep the paint layer as thin as possible. I'm trying to do this in real time so that you get a sense of how long things take. The really sped up reels are either deceptive or confusing. But it does mean you need a little bit more patience in watching. There, we got a transfer anyway. Maybe not the best quality. While it's drying, I'll look for some more images here. And let's consider that carefully for a moment. I intentionally choose images that have a lot of toner in them, so a lot of black, especially when I'm learning. Later, when you got the hang of it, you can start playing with colors and the mid values. But at this point, just use high contrast. You can see here the difference between the red toner in the background into the fire and the black toner, no difference on the dresses. So all heavy toners get treated the same. Their color doesn't matter. It's actually pretty good print. The detail on their faces is good. All right, if you're up for it, stick with me, and in the next 7 or 8 minutes, we'll pull 2 more from a magazine. So these are from Canadian Zoomer magazine. They are glossy pages. And I'm pulling 2 more with exactly the same method. So I had put on the whisper thin coat of black paint, and now I'm transferring the image onto the plate. And if you ask me, I'm not really doing anything different than I did before. I'm using the same paint. I'm using a different magazine. I'm observing that this paper is thin and that it's wrinkling and bubbling a little bit faster than the other one did. So it might be pretty blobby. Yes, it seems you can see the wrinkle patterns actually in there. So maybe that's part of what gives the blobs. I'm using a yellow paint here. It's Yellow Galleria. It's not the same white pickup paint as I used before because I just ran out. So now I'm putting the pickup paper on, and that's the one that I could leave on there for 6 weeks if I want and still pull the print. Now on the other side, I'm going to put down a different print, same article, next page, in the same magazine. And I'm doing everything exactly the same. I'm putting down my whisper thin coat of paint. I'm turning the image upside down onto the plate, and I'm ironing it lightly. This is a pretty good one. It's not wrinkling as much. Not wrinkling. So maybe I put on even less paint. I'm checking to see if the white lifted all the paint, assuming then that the black will have been left behind by the toner. And there I am pulling it up very carefully. And this print, which you can't see too clearly because the other one is on the other side of the jelly plate, but this print looks like, this transfer looks like it's pretty good. Or the transfer, or the copy. I mean them all the same way. The language in this business is pretty confusing. So here I am picking it up with a white American Decorator paint, which is fluid. I found some white paint. And at this point, I feel that I have the transfer sequenced down pretty well. So I'm feeling okay picking it up with a different paint. I already know that the pickup paints don't matter so much because as long as that transfer's under there, the setting paint will pick up the ghost right off the plate. And let's pick the other one up and see how we did. So this is where we used the yellow and the woman had her arms crossed. And we saw that we were having a lot of blobbing on that. And we do have a lot of streaking and blobbing on that. Remember, that has nothing to do with the yellow paint. That was all about the transfer. So it could be a lot of things. Now we can see that the one we just put on looks pretty darn good. That's interesting. So just waiting for it to set a little bit more. I'm trying to do this in real time so that you can get the feeling for everything and not be deceived or confused by sped up reels. Now this is probably the best one I've got today. It is the best one I've got today. There. So we're getting better and better. It's getting better and better all the time. Look at her face, completely clear. Really good. It's a really good print. So I hope this was helpful. If you liked it, please subscribe and show us what you do on the Facebook Learn Jelly Plate Printing group.